The sports week with playoffs in the NBA and in the Stanley Cup playoffs gets busier Thursday, less than 24 hours away from the NFL draft in Green Bay. Let's do our research, shall we? Quite a bit of odds movement leading up to the draft. Don't think the Raiders are going to get a chance to grab Ashton Genty. At least the folks that make the odds don't think he's going to be there. He's now favored at -170 to go to Jacksonville at 5. After opening at 70-1 odds to be taken that high. The rest of the top 10 remains relatively unchanged with the exception of Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, who was the preseason favorite to be the first overall pick. Later, opening at -215 to go top 10. His draft position line is set at 21.5. They do not believe he will slip past the Steelers at 21. That has caused a bit of a shakeup with the rest of the first round. ESPN Bet Sportsbook now offering even odds for there to be fewer than 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Only time that happened in the last 9 years, 2022. Kenny Pickett was the lone quarterback taken in the first round. With an eye on the draft, we welcome in my friend Ryan Clark, who will be part of the coverage beginning Thursday night. It's a weekend affair up there in Lambeau. And RC, there's never a great deal of clarity about what direction teams are going to go. Why would they be honest with us about their intentions? But there's generally more of a consensus about what the first round might look like than there is this year. Yeah. What does that indicate to you about, I guess, perhaps the lack of difference makers? What do you see? What do you hear?
It's not as top-heavy as we're used to seeing. You know, you look at those first 4 draft picks of these drafts, and we're looking at people that we feel have Hall of Fame potential. And obviously, with Travis Hunter, you see that Abdul Carter, a very skilled and established rusher, but we just don't have those sorts of guys that we're clamoring for in the top 10. I do believe this will be one of those drafts where we're talking about some of those second-day picks and the impacts that they make early over some of the first-round guys that we see picked tomorrow.
That's the kind of clarity I'm looking for, but I know that you're not saying there aren't dudes, and with that in mind, you share with me 3 names. 3 names. Now, one of them is Travis Hunter. Look, you're an Emmy winner talking ball. Yeah. I could tell you some stuff about Travis Hunter. I'm looking for the why. I'm looking for the why on these guys. Yep. What is it about Hunter that you go, this is what I love, Scott?
You know what, I'm going to say this, Scott, and people are going to be like, oh, you're full of crap. This guy has Randy Moss-like ball skills, Jerry Rice-like ball skills. I'm talking all-time greats, Larry Fitzgerald. I truly believe that if Travis Hunter plays defensive back as his primary position, he'll be an all-pro in 2 years. We have never seen a player like him before, and I don't believe we'll see one after Travis Hunter.
Real quick, do you think they let him play offense?
I do. Especially if Cleveland drafts him, Scott. Listening to Andrew Berry, they want some juice on the offensive side of the ball. I think that'll be the one team where his primary position is wide receiver and he's supplemented as a defensive back.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. They do have some talented defensive backs there in Cleveland, need some difference makers on the offensive side. All right. I know you love Jahad Campbell. When you look at the tape, what flies off the screen?
Hey. Hall of Fame talent, Scott, I'm telling you, bro, when you look at this dude, the way he could play on the football, off the football, how he closes on the quarterback when he rushes, but the effortless way he drops into coverage, the sideline speed. And now I know he's going to fall a little bit in this draft because of the injuries, but there are some things that he does naturally that you just cannot teach. The way that he gets through blockers, the way that he flows into the backfield. I'm excited to see where he lands. I expect immediate impact from him.
You share with me you feel there is depth at the tight end position in the first round, and there's some interesting conversation about Loveland from Michigan or Warren from Penn State. Yes. You zeroed in on Warren. Now, maybe to my eyes he's more complete. Maybe you can use him in the blocking scheme more, but what does he show you?
Scott, I'm gonna talk to you as a dad here, Scott. Like, these are things that me and you vibe on, right? Like, you are my real life friend, and I don't have a lot of those in TV. You know what it's like to be a dad. When we go to our children's games or when you're at something, you don't want anybody to get hurt, right? The wins and the losses are not that important to you. When the Notre Dame Fighting Irish played Penn State, in the Orange Bowl and Tyler Warren was nicked up and he went to the tent, when they walked him back out, I'm screaming like people could hear me. They didn't do the concussion protocol right. They are not focused on this kid's health and well-being. And it wasn't because I was truly that concerned about his health. I didn't want him to go back in the game, Scott. The dude was that good. This dude can do it all. And after seeing what Brock Bowers was able to do in his first year with Las Vegas, I truly believe that Tyler Warren can have that sort of effect on a team and even be a little more versatile, because I feel he's a better inline player than we saw from Brock Bowers last year.
I want to close with the on-ramp you just gave me about being a dad. And you've lived it as a player, and now you're living it as a dad, waiting to see what happens with Jordan. It's interesting. Shedeur Sanders and his dad are living it too, right? And I'm not looking at it through Deion's Hall of Fame eyes or your Super Bowl winning eyes or Emmy winning eyes. I'm looking through both of your guys are dads watching your sons live out a dream.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've spoken to him at all about that. If not, you could just share your perspective. What is that journey like going through it as a family?
You know what has been great for me, Scott, is I didn't have like this freakishly talented kid. You know, like he's not super tall or super fast or all of these things. And I remember in the 8th grade, we were driving together and he tells me, he's like, Dad, I want to play college football. And I was like, well, son, I can help with that. And so he's like, I really love receiver. I like DB. I'm playing them both. I said, well, if you play DB, Dad knows how to get you there. And we were just joking about it the other day. He broke his ankle as a freshman year playing basketball. And that entire offseason, we trained every week. And there were fights, and we were mad at each other. And I would look him in his eyes, and I would say, all you have to do is tell me you don't want it, and I'll let you be. I'll just sit in the stands, and I will cheer for you because your college is paid for. And every time he'd say, Dad, this is what I want. We've actually never spoken about the NFL until now. And the fact that, man, he worked that hard and he's given himself a chance, and I know that he'll have an opportunity to be in the NFL camp this year, man. It is nothing but the grace of God. And as a father, I couldn't be more proud of the man Jordan has become, but him following in my footsteps and loving the game the same way I did, man, is nothing better.
That's beautiful to hear. And we've talked off air a ton about this. This man was everywhere to watch his son play, wherever he was playing. And Dad's got a path that says, son, whether you hear your name called Thursday, Friday, or the weekend, doesn't matter. There's still a path. There's still a path. And I know that those lessons were. Those lessons, I'm sure, were taken to heart. I'm rooting for him wherever he goes. You know that. And always appreciate your time, RC, and your perspective, man. Thank you.
Man, thank you so much, brother.
NFL draft, and it will be our pleasure to bring it to you. I'm Mike Greenberg alongside Louis Riddick, Booger McFarland, and the man who invented the draft is Mel Kiper Jr. And Mel, let's dive right into it. Who are the best players whose names will be called here Thursday night?
You probably have a few surprises on this list, considering, hey, I'm not a running back in the first round. That's philosophy. That's not rating. That's not grade. Ashton Ginty, Boise State, outstanding football players at 4. You look at Abdul Carter, the pass rush specialist, off the edge this year after being off ball the previous 2 seasons. Mason Graham, don't overthink it.